welcome to the show! I'm Wolfie Bane, your host of today, and we are here 1 minute early for the stream today. How day, fantastic day, fantastic time, fantastic evening, and a fantastic life right now, everybody. I'm back, I'm here, I'm ready to talk about some video games again. How day! Hope you're having a lovely day. For me, I'm having an okay day. I've mostly spent a lot of the day cleaning, genuinely. Cleaning and catching up on some Seth Zinch videos. Also having an actual nap because I've been watching the HoloLive EN. What the hell is it called? What's his name? Give me a second. Enigmatic Recollection. I've been watching that, and that starts pretty damn late, to say the least. Or at least if you're a massive fan of Gooba like me, and will watch Gura's perspective of it. I watch the clips of a lot of the others, but I've been watching Gura's version, and it starts really freaking late for me, and finishes even later. So yeah, my sleep schedule's been a bit balked, but hey, it's been good to watch. It's been very enjoyable. Also, I've been playing a lot of... I found a new mode, or a new mode to play with, at least, on Showdown, which has been very fun. It is Doubles UU. Gen 9 Doubles UU has been a lot of fun to just mess around in. Or it was very fun to get around until it was Psychic Terrain Trick Room Day. For some reason, where I fought like 15 of them in a row, which was extremely not fun, and I highly recommend you don't play that. I beat quite a few of them, I lost quite a few of them. It feels complete, just random chance, which isn't enjoyable. I also got crit 15 times in a row, genuinely 15 turns in a row in, like, over a couple of games. It was really annoying. But in one game, someone did get into a completely dominating position, and then I swept his entire team with Iron Valiant. So there's that. It's good. It's been enjoyable to fuck around with it, and I do like playing doubles. But I wasn't a huge fan of when I last played VGC, because last time I played VGC, a lot of what people are playing is the one that has all the restricted Pokemon in, and I find it way more enjoyable not to play with the restricted Pokemon. As much as I love a lot of Pokemon like Rayquaza and Lunala and all those ones, there's also things like Calyrex Spectra, which isn't fun. So, playing Doubles UU. I'm also horrified by Doubles UU because half of the Pokemon that are in it is just, the fuck is in Doubles OU? A lot of the things in Doubles OU are nightmares. So, considering, like, I managed to get a beautiful team. Though I was having a hard time figuring out what I wanted for my last Pokemon on it. I've actually been playing around with Dragapult in it, though. Hey, Nixie! How you doing? Hope you finally recovered from LARP. Nope. Oh dear. No, it was a good one, but yeah, I absolutely get it. Your parents has only just begun. Oh dear. Oh dearie dear. But yes, anyway, let's get into the actual concept for the video. So, this week, we are doing poison types, which is a weird type for me because, on paper, I'm not really a huge fan of the poison type, right? It's fine. It's always been one of the weird types for me, of, like, I've never been a massively big fan of them. But the poison type Pokemon are kind of cracked, and I love a lot of poison type Pokemon. It's kind of like rock type for me. which is why I decided on doing it after doing it the other week, doing rock types the other week. I'm not a huge fan of the poison type, because I'd rather have a steel type, usually. However, the poison type Pokemon are really, really cool. And it has some of the best Pokemon. Also, can I just comment something here? So, if you actually look at this list, this is all the poison type Pokemon. I'll actually move my webcam for a moment. Just to give you guys the show of it. Yeah. Just take in the list. This is every single poison type Pokemon. Right? Just, I'll give you a couple seconds. Because there's something noteworthy about it. Okay. I'll give it about 5-10 more seconds. Okay. Yeah. So something about this. No, not the colours purple and green. Everything in the top 3 rows is Gen 1. Or a version of a Gen 1 Pokemon. Literally, almost half of this list is Kanto. Or Kanto variants. There are so fucking many Kanto poison types. Genuinely. It's got the poison type starter. It's the poison region. Let's be honest. There's a reason why Psychic type was busted in Gen 1, okay? And it isn't just because Psychic type was broken, which it was. No, there's just so many poison types. Nearly every grass type in Gen 1 is a poison type. Not kidding. I think there's like 3 that aren't. It's just a really weird fact. Like, Kanto's a shithole. But I will say, I actually do love a lot of the Kanto poison types. Because there's no steel types in, like, the Kanto games, usually, I end up using poison types basically to get around getting poisoned, right? And I've got a big fondness for quite a few of them. Now, let's make a good start and get it going. Oh yeah, also, the tier names this week, I decided most of them are things that people like, which are also bad for them, and I put them in my favorite order. Also, I put Alice Cooper in A tier because I had to, right? Like, I kind of had to. In the poison video, when we've got need a title beginning with A, you gotta put Alice Cooper there, right? So, S tier, we got Salt. I'm a huge fan of Salt, not gonna lie. I have probably way too much cholesterol buildup. I love salt food and fried food and all that kind of stuff. So, that is by S tier. A tier, Alice Cooper. Love that song. The song Poison by Alice Cooper is a fantastic song. You should know it. If you don't know it, go and look it up. Genuinely. Also, if you don't know it, you're probably significantly younger than me, which is depressing. B is Butter. Butter's great, obviously. I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't have too much butter. But I used butter to fry up some, like, very thinly sliced beef for a beef bowl that I made. I had my first attempt at making a Japanese-style beef bowl, which was really, really good. And it recommended in how to fry it for, like, Japanese-style beef, like beef frying steak for it. It recommended frying it in butter, which I hadn't really done before, so... Because normally I have to just fry it in oil with a few seasonings and stuff, because it's steak. But this was a cheap frying steak. So I did fry it up with the oil and butter, and it was really good. Had a different taste to it, and it was kind of more what I think I was going for, or what it was supposed to be. It was interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward tonight. I'm going kind of all out. I've got these giant pork cutlets, like they're that size, and I'm going to make a pork cutlet, like fried pork cutlets, and have Japanese style curry sauce over the top. Can I go all old school with pork cutlet curry with some very nice rice? I'm sure, because I'm getting. Oh yeah, I'm really excited. Hey David. Okay, C tier is chocolate. I do like chocolate, as I've said before on my tier list videos. C tier is always the average. I'm not a huge chocolate guy myself. I have to be in the mood for it. It gives me stomachache. Oh no. But chocolate's great, obviously. D tier, the only one of these I dislike is diet soft drinks. I The only diet soft drink that I can put up with, really, is lemonade, because lemonade's fine. But I don't like diet soft drinks just in general. Because I nearly put Diet Coca-Cola on there, but I went, well, I hate Diet Coca-Cola with a passion. So, and I don't really hate any poison types enough. Jesus. See, exactly. It's bad for you. Yeah, I've never liked diet drinks at all. I will always have the full sugar ones. I don't really like sweeteners. They have a horrible, horrible taste to me as well. So, give me full sugar all the time. I get you. You don't get. I fair enough. I've always been able to taste the difference. Genuinely, always. Hell, I've always been able to taste the difference between amount of sugars in full sugar drinks. Because, like, if you go for cans of Coke, tastes less good, yeah. That's why I don't like the taste of any. The only diet soft drink that I've ever gone, the taste is fine, and it's genuinely fine, is Diet Lemonade. Because it barely tastes different from sugar lemonade. In most cases, not in every case. I do get full sugar Sprite quite often, which is lemon and lime, so. But normal lemonade, Diet Lemonade's fine. But every other one, But yeah, if you have cans of Coke versus bottled Coke, the bottled Coke actually has less sugar in it, and you can taste the difference if you drink a lot of it. Pepsi Max is okay. I will give it that. I've had Pepsi Max. It feels... It tastes like caramel water to me, though. It doesn't really taste of anything. Weirdly. Like, it's got the taste, but it feels like it's missing something. Pepsi Max, that's always what I've felt. If I get KFC, that's what I get, though. Exactly, right? Like, it's not bad. But Diet Pepsi's vile. But Pepsi Max is fine. Same with Coke Zero. Coke Zero is also fine. But I massively prefer full sugar Coca-Cola. They've started to catch on how to make them, I think. But it's still... They got a long way to go. Anyway, to make a start. So, the OG, the number one, the first Pokemon, if you don't count Pokemon that were designed, Bulbasaur. I know a lot of people love Bulbasaur. It's a popular Pokemon. I get it. It's a lot of people's first starter. It's a little plant frog. I always think of it as a frog. I know a lot of people say lizard. It's always been a frog to me. Particularly watching it walk around in Pokemon Unite, it's definitely a frog. Right? Bulbasaur and the whole line is... There's also 5 versions of it here, so we're going to get to them. But they're fine. I've always said all the Kanto starters are good. I rip into a buddy of mine because Bulbasaur's their favorite, right? Exactly, right? A friend of mine absolutely loves Bulbasaur. It's their favorite starter. I get it. But I always rip into them and tear them apart for joking around because I prefer Charizard, so of course. And I will say Bulbasaur is my least favorite of the Kanto starters. Which is not saying it's bad. I think all 3 Kanto starters are really, really cool. Good designs, good moves. Venusaur got good moves, I will say, because I think Venusaur's moveset was shite for years. Hell yeah! Charmander's best. Charmander is best. But Bulbasaur's fine. Bulbasaur is fine. I will give them a very respectable spot. They're going in A-tier, the lot of them. I don't really have any massive preference. I think Bulbasaur is the cutest, so you will actually get the highest rank. Then Venusaur, then the Mega, then the G-Max, then Ivysaur. I've always thought Ivysaur just looks a bit weird. But again, it's a middle stage. So yeah. Also, people give Charizard grief for having a lot of forms. It's only got 1 more form than the other Kanto starters. They just have favoritism for the Kanto starters. It's not just Charizard. Charizard just got 2 because they wanted the poster child one for 2 characters, because Red in Pokemon Origins anime has Charizard X, and one of the champions, there's like the black clothed champion with the blue scarf, can't remember his name, but I know he's in the anime. He also is famous for having a Mega Charizard X. So, it's just a thing. They wanted that. Bulbasaur's your favorite. Hey, fair enough. And then they wanted the Charizard to do what Charizard does, but better. And I will say, I love both Mega Charizards. And Mega Venusaur is cool. I love that it gets Thick Fat. Thick Fat is a really cool ability for it because it's tanky as hell. It's not actually weak to fire or ice anymore, which is kind of cool. Makes it a really nice, cool, tanky Pokemon. So, I think Venusaur and Bulbasaur line is pretty good. They're getting an A tier. They're not getting S tier. I don't care what anyone says. I also am of the opinion that they are cool. But for me, personally, they're outclassed by a Pokemon with the same type in the same generation that isn't a starter. He does look like a puppy in the movie. You're not wrong. Ah. Now for a meme. So, in one of my friend groups, in one of the ones I regularly chat with, this next line is a meme. Because he doesn't know why, but one of my friends from that group, their favorite Pokemon is Beedrill. And they don't know why, but they'll always have a Beedrill. So it's become a bit of a gimmicky laugh. So I personally quite like Beedrill. I always have like a bit of a soft spot for the Angry Bee. And Mega Beedrill is actually kind of cracked. Like adaptability, fast as hell, hits like a truck. That thing's kind of cool. Also has like the second lowest special attack I think of any bug next to Shuckle. It's got like one of the highest physical attacks, but no special, and it's hilarious. Weedle, I would give Weedle a B tier. It's kind of okay. It was actually my first Pokemon caught. Genuinely was a Weedle. Ever. Which is, it's got a bit of a soft spot for me. Kakuna, I think you're also fine. But hilariously, back in Fire Red, when I first played, you didn't want to catch a Kakuna. You wanted to catch a Weedle and level it up. Because if you caught a Kakuna in the wild, it only had Harden. If you caught a Weedle, it had Poison. Kakuna Rattata, exactly. What a wonderful phrase. And it genuinely had Poison Sting and String Shot. Which also, String Shot got kind of good, actually, weirdly. Like, it's an AoE and it harshly drops speed now. It actually got made pretty good. Beedrill himself, though. Beedrill, you're getting A tier. I like you. And Mega Beedrill also. I just think they're kind of cracked. I think they've got a cool design. I say I have a soft spot for them. They're really bad. For reference. Also, I'm looking forward to them coming back in Legends ZA. We know they are because it's got a Mega, and we're obviously going to... I think every Pokemon that has a Mega is going to come back in Legends ZA, and we're going to get a bunch that get new ones. Yeah. It's cool. I like Beedrill. I like Beedrill. Snake backwards and... Oh, it's bad, but it looks cool. Oh, yeah, Beedrill's awful. Beedrill's awful. Mega Beedrill's pretty good, but regular Beedrill is so bad. It's terrible. I love it, but it sucks. Same with this next Pokemon. Actually, no, I've swept people with Arbok before, genuinely. Unironically, I've swept people with an Arbok. It gets Coil. It gets Coil and Scale Shot in the current games. It's kind of cool. Also can get Intimidate, which is always good. It can get Shed Skin, which I think Shed Skin is low-key amazing as an ability. You can just get rid of statuses. That 30% chance. If you get lucky, it goes great. But yeah, Ekans. I love Ekans. I'm a big fan of snakes, so it's going here. Arbok. I love Arbok. Genuinely, I love it. One of the Pokemon I really hope gets a Mega. This is a Pokemon that I'm convinced is getting a Mega in Legends ZA. Genuinely. They haven't done anything with it. I would also love, if they don't give it a Mega, give it an extra evolution. One of the two. I think they're going to give it a Mega because it was in the trailer for Legends ZA where Megas are coming back. And we know they love giving generic Gen 1 Pokemon Mega evolutions. Right? So I am convinced we're getting a Mega Arbok. If we don't get a Mega Arbok, give us an extra evolution. I also genuinely think that the evolution... This is what I'm calling now. I have no ideas on this, other than having seen Arbok in the original trailer for Legends ZA. But I'm calling it now. We're gonna get a Mega Arbok, and it's gonna be Poison Flying type. That's my prediction. I think it's gonna go like full Warbat from the King Kong Godzilla movie. You know, the giant flying snake that like flies on all the ribcage. I think it's going to get, like, Cobra Fin down the whole body and be a flying type as well. Because we've only got one poison flying type line in Pokemon. There's one. And it is the Zubat line. It's exactly what you think it is. That's the only poison flying types. And poison flying type is a cool type. So I think if we get the giant flying snake, I think that'd be kind of cool. So that's my prediction. With no evidence to back it up whatsoever. But I love Arbok. Again, not a particularly good Pokemon, but you can make it work. If you're in, like, low tiers in Pokemon, I'm gonna be honest. Because it's an Arbok, we're gonna say. It's not gonna compete with, like, a Garchomp or anything, right? But it's cool. It's a fun Pokemon, and genuinely you can make it work. Okay. Now, you all know my opinions on the Nidorans. Because I talked about them in the ground tier lists. I love the Nidoran line. I genuinely do. But the male Nidorans have never performed well for me. Ever. Every time I try my damnedest to make Nidoking work, it just doesn't. Nidoqueen, however, does great. So I don't know why. They're basically the same Pokemon. But Nidoqueen's always done a lot better for me. And because of that, the Nidoran female is getting higher ranks than male. But yeah, I will put Nidoran, and there's those ones. And the males are going here behind Arbok. I do love Nidoking's design. Also, Nidoking Shiny is really good. Oh, their lore is nuts as well, yeah. But I genuinely like them both. Nidoqueen has always performed better, and I prefer Nidoqueen. Way worse Shiny. Nidoking's got a far superior Shiny. I really wish... Yeah, I really wish that Nidoqueen just got Nidoking's base colors, like, because Nidoking gets Nidoqueen's coloration for the Shiny, which looks really good, because the light blue with Nidoking's looks great. Nidoqueen turns green, and it's just a kind of ill-looking green. It's not good, which is really sad, because genuinely, I think if she had, like, the pink of Nidoking, I think it would go quite hard. I think it would actually be quite a good look. So, it's kind of a shame, but Nidoqueen herself just has a good design, so... I really like the Pokemon. It's always done at a fun time. I love using... I just love using the Pokemon. Nidoqueen was an absolute all-star on my mono ground-type run of Pokemon. She was really fucking good, honestly. Nidoqueen does work. Because we did Kanto in monotype. I got ground-type. And Nidoqueen was my surf Pokemon, hilariously enough. Because Nidoqueen gets surf, because the Nidos just get insane moves. Honestly. But she pretty much swept the grass gym on her own. With Poison Jab, because you can get Poison Jab in Pokemon quite early, if you know where to look. Before the grass type gym, and she can't be poisoned, which is kind of handy. She actually resists grass. She's a really fun Pokemon to use. Oh yeah, I love the Nidos. And every time in Kanto, they are my poison type. They take the role, basically, that I would usually have a steel type for. Genuinely. Because I quite often have a steel type to not be poisoned. And the Nidos are a giant fucking poison type, which also can't be poisoned. So, I kind of use them like a steel type. Like, big fighty wall. And I like them. Zubat, okay. I can't give Zubat and Golbat a high rank. Crobat, we'll get to Crobat later. Crobat's getting a great rank. But it's... Zubat and... These are annoying Pokemon. They're good. They are good. Exactly. There's a reason why on the Honest Trailers Pokemon, they called Zubat Cave Herpes. Okay? I hate this thing. It's a good Pokemon. I like bats. Well, it's a bad Pokemon, but you know what I mean. They're annoying little bastards. I can't, but I have a bit of a soft spot for them. Actually, no, you're getting in C tier. You're getting C tier. I actually don't like Golbat's design very much. I never really have. I think Zubat's design's fine. It is tiny little bat, right? Okay, but controlled. They were rare. She's a master bullet, yeah. We'll do Zubat. 2 steps, Zubat. We'll take 2 more steps, Zubat. We'll 2 more steps, Zubat. Yeah. Genuinely a problem. But they're not terrible Pokemon. Also, you get Supersonic, you get Poison Jab, you get Poison Sting, which guaranteed poisons because they hate you. It's all stuff like that, right? Now, I was saying that a Pokemon for me outdoes Bulbasaur that's the same type in the same region. And I'm gonna be completely and utterly honest and transparent here. I fucking love Oddish. Oddish is an S tier for me. I love Oddish so much. Oddish is the GOAT. I love this thing. It's my little onion. This thing has done so much work for me in every single Kanto playthrough I've ever played. I will get an Oddish. And this thing will beat the shit out of Misty on its own. Gloom, I'm not a huge fan of Gloom's design, but Vileplume is another S tier. But I love Oddish so much. It's so cute. I just love Oddish and Vileplume. I don't like Gloom's design. I never have. I will immediately leaf stone it into a Vileplume. As soon as I get access to a leaf stone. But, God. I love this Pokemon an unbelievably large amount. It has done some serious work for me in the past as well. I genuinely love using this Pokemon. This is one of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon. And I've always had an immense soft spot for it. In all honesty, I just love this thing. It's so cute. It's really good. Genuinely quite good. It gets all like the powder moves. You can get Giga Drain. It's tanky as balls. It can't be poisoned. I genuinely love this thing. Gets bodied by psychic types, but we don't talk about that. Exactly. It's really cute. And I just love it. I genuinely do. This is... Oddish and Vileplume are genuinely one of my favorite grass types. I am not kidding. I love this thing. This is a contender for my favorite grass type. It's not my favorite grass type. There are a few. But there's a few grass types I really, really love. But when I eventually get through these lists and get to grass type, you bet that Oddish and Vileplume are in S tier on that list as well. And they're one of my favorite poison types as well. As I said, it's got S tier. It deserves S tier. It's amazing. Venonat and Venomoth, genuinely sleeper. People underestimate these things. They're actually really good. Venomoth gets freaking Quiver Dance, okay? I will put you here. I have a bit of a soft spot for them. I'm not crazy a big fan, but I do like them. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people love it. A friend of mine, my buddy Wilfred, who is also doing the monotype tier list, they actually was doing the monotype run of Pokemon Kanto region as well. They actually got poison type and hadn't really used a lot of the poison types before that were in Kanto, but since they're all poison, they had to use Venusaur as their starter because that was our rules. And they got a Venomoth on their team, and they're like, I don't really know if I'll use it on my final team. I was like, no, Venomoth's actually quite good. Like, it's surprisingly good. And they were like, okay, I'll take your word for it. They used it, and they were like, and by the end of the run, they were like, oh yeah, that thing's crazy good. They were like, I did not expect it to be that good. It was like, yes, Venomoth is really strong in the right hands. It needs a bit of help to get that good, but it's good. It gets Quiver Dance, it gets good psychic moves, it gets good poison moves, it gets good bug moves. It's just quite a good Pokemon. Its stats are okay. It's kind of a meh bug type, stat-wise, right? But its moveset really makes up for it. And I think it's quite a good design. I've always been a fan of moths. People know I like butterflies and moths Pokemon in general. I think they're very fun. So yeah. Nice. Bellsprout, the whole line. I know people love Bellsprout, right? I actually genuinely think that we're going to get either a regional Victory Bell or a Mega Victory Bell. Genuinely, another thing I think for Legends ZA or a future one. I can imagine this Pokemon getting some changes. But I've never been the biggest fan. I know a lot of people love it. And it's quite good. Like, genuinely, it's got good offensive stats. It's kind of fast. It gets Chlorophyll, which Chlorophyll is always great. I've never been a big fan. So you're getting B tier because I think you're kind of cool. Also, they remind me of a lemon. I don't know why. I know they're not in any way. They're like a flycatcher plant. But they always remind me of a lemon, and they look kind of delicious. I'd eat a bell sprout, right? I know they're poisonous, so it's probably a bad idea. But they look delicious to me. I've never understood why. Just a weird one. They kind of remind me of like a mix of a spring onion and a lemon. I don't know. I think they taste delicious. So. Tentacool and Tentacruel. Now, these Pokemon are also trauma, right? Tentacool, it's, let's face it, Tentacool is the Zubat of the sea, right? Let's be completely honest, it is the Zubat of the sea. It has, it just attacks you constantly. It's like, you're surfing. Every 2 steps, you get attacked by another Tentacool. So, Tentacool, you are getting low B tier. Because I prefer your design-wise to Zubat, and that's what gets you the higher tier. Which is still aggravating. Tentacruel, however. Tentacruel, I love this thing. I genuinely use this thing. I actually use this thing in my PokeMMO run-throughs, which I did a while back. I think I did them on stream. I'm pretty sure I did them on stream. It was using Pokemon that I hadn't really used much. Or going through the Pokemon games in Pokemon that I hadn't really played. And I believe Gen 2, I wanted to use a Tentacruel. Because I hadn't particularly used one before. I knew it was apparently a pretty good Pokemon, but I'd never used it. Yes, Tentacruel is cracked. Tentacruel is actually a really nice Pokemon. I will put you in A tier. You are a really good one. If it wasn't for the fact that Gen 1 has 2 of my top 4 favorite water types of all time, you would probably be my go-to Gen 1 water type. Not kidding. However, you're up against some really, really stiff competition, right? We'll get to the water types later. And you'll see that one of my favorite water types might be on this list. One of my top 2 favorite water types is actually later on this list. I genuinely think there's only like 1 other water type on this list. Oh no, there's 2. There are 2. Not many water poison types. You'd be amazed. But yeah, water poison is actually a really, really cool typing. It's a really fun Pokemon. I genuinely love Tentacruel. It's very fast, like weirdly fast. It's got the same speed as Charizard and Salamence, right? It's 100 speed. Great special defense. Okay offenses. I think they're alright. Great moveset. Gets Rapid Spin, which is great. It gets Ice Beam, Surf, Hydro Pump, Toxic Spikes, Poison Jab. It gets a lot, Sludge Wave. It gets a lot of really good moves. And this thing is genuinely quite good. Also gets Clear Body, which I love. Clear Body means you can't get stack downgrades. Genuinely been utilizing Clear Body, Clear Amulet, and Mirror Armor in the doubles that I've been doing. I've been playing Pokemon Showdown doubles UU. My team has 3 Pokemon that the stats can't be changed of, and it's been crumpling people. So Clear Body is really good. People don't expect it to be good, but it is. Particularly in doubles, genuinely. Because Intimidate's really common. So having a Pokemon that is immune to Intimidate, really good. Or not technically immune to Intimidate, but doesn't care about Intimidate because it literally negates the stat change. So, really good. Slowbro, Galarian Slowbro, specifically. I'm not really a big fan. I've never been a huge fan of the Slowbro line in general. Same with Slowking. It's a very, very good Pokemon, but this thing aggravates the shit out of me with its broken as fuck ability. Basically, this thing's ability, I think it's got 2 abilities. One is, I think, Regenerator, which is great. Yeah, it's looking. This one, the Galarian Slowbro, has an ability which is effectively, it has Quick Claw. Just built in. Which stacks with Quick Claw, for reference. Which means that it's got a very, very good chance of just going first, regardless of being slow. It's got a really good move as well, Shell Sidearm, which is basically a slightly weaker version of Necrozma's move. It is higher which it takes whatever is higher out of your physical or special stats and decides that's the stat it's using. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of them. I absolutely get liking them. They've just never been for me. So I will give you a C tier for average. Just not a Pokemon that I really like. Regular Grimer and Alolan Grimer. I kind of have to talk about these two separately because there is a vast difference in my favoritism. Regular Grimer, I've never been a real big fan of regular Grimer. It's fine. It's the little sludge blob. Muck, however, I've actually got a bit of a soft spot for Muck. I won't put it, I don't think it's an A tier, right? But I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. I thought it was hilarious in the anime that it just, like, glomped a Bellsprout, which was really funny. I got a bit of a soft spot for it, and I've always thought it's, like, a fine little Pokemon. It's a B tier. A pretty good B tier, also. But it's only a B tier for me. And I have to put that. The Cantonian ones are both fine. Alolan Grimer and Alolan Muck, however, I love them. Genuinely, these Pokemon are insanely good. Mr. Shine, if you saw the little bits before my game started breaking. Hey, buddy. Started being a bit of a pain in the ass. Alolan Muck, Alolan Grimer, Mr. Shine was really fucking good. Alolan Muck is crazy good. Like, insanely so. And you two, also, I really like the designs. I like the teeth. The teeth ad actually goes quite hard. The green look actually massively improves the design. And the, like, bits of just bone in Alolan Muck and the, like, coruscating cores, which do move in the games, by the way. And I think that really adds to it, because it gives you, like, a sensible motion. I really like it, and they're going just behind Tentacruel. But Alolan Muck is great. It's a really good Pokemon. You're going to get a lot of A tiers, I think, in Poison types, because there's a lot of really good ones. Now we get to, I believe, a friend's, at least old favourite. You can confirm or deny, Davey. Is Haunter still Luke's favourite Pokemon? It was. I remember it used to be because I used to hold them hostage. Yeah. Yeah, I can't even, like, sugarcoat it. I freaking love the Gengar line. They're just great. I will say, might be a bit of an upset. I do kind of prefer Oddish and Vileplume. Genuinely. But, they're still getting S tier. Ghastly, easy S tier. Haunter, easy S tier. I actually slightly prefer Gengar. I used to prefer Haunter when I was younger. Grew more into liking Gengar as I got older. Mega Gengar is pretty fucking cool as well. And G-Max Gengar is hilarious, but I prefer the Mega. Yeah. Everybody loves Gengar. Third favorite Mega. It's a very good Mega. It's one of the strongest as well. It's up there with Mega Kangaskhan and... No, if you discount the really broken ones. It's one of the top 3 with, I believe, Mega Mawile, Mega Kangaskhan, and Mega Gengar. I believe are the strongest 3. Which are busted. But yeah, I love them. They are just fantastic Pokemon. Until extremely recently, the only Ghost Poison types is in existence as well. They literally just added one. The last Pokemon added to Pokemon, as in the current highest numbered Dex entry, is the only other Ghost Poison type. But you can't hate Gengar. Gengar, Haunter, Ghastly, the Mega, and G-Max. They're all really fucking good. They absolutely deserve S tier. 100%. Again, another fantastic poison types to use in this setup. Genuinely. It's fast, it hits hard, it's really, really powerful. It's just a good Pokemon. And it's held up as well. I believe Gengar is currently in competitive the weakest it's ever been, and it's like, are you? It's a really, really strong Pokemon. It's always been good. It always will be good, probably. Goodbye fighting types. Yeah, as well. It's really, really strong. It's really, really solid. I really love it. And you're never unhappy to get a Gengar, right? It's one of those Pokemon. You're always quite happy to, it's like, oh, I got a Gengar. Nice. I'm happy for that. I rarely got to play with one when I was younger because, again, the only friend I had who also played Pokemon lived really far away, so I rarely got to play with a Gengar. But Gengar's great, and I've gotten to play with it more in recent years, and it's just good. It's just really good. Really fast, hits really hard. Dies instantly to being breathed on, but hey, what can I say? Coughing and wheezing. Now, I've never been the biggest fan of these, but what gives them a place? Also, hilariously, these things, in PokeMMO, these things are hilarious because you will not run into one that doesn't have Fire Blast or Flamethrower. It's hysterical. They have no special attack, but learn Flamethrower and Fire Blast. So, we'll guaranteed run it in PokeMMO. Because Steel types are in PokeMMO, so you can bring a Steel type from a future region, like a Scizor or a Steelix or something. Or one of the really powerful Steel types as well. And these guys will have a fire move to try and check them, which is very funny. And also, they have a really cool ability called Neutralizing Gas. Now, what Neutralizing Gas does, it turns off the Pokemon's ability, right? Which sounds like, oh, that could be kind of handy. Its other ability is Levitate, by the way. Levitate is really good. Like, particularly on a poison type. Levitate is very good. Just bear that in mind. But its other ability, Neutralizing Gas, is what makes wheezing great. Now, turning off your opponent's ability, pretty good. Like, you can go, oh, it can turn off a Shedinja, which is kind of nice. Like, and you can hit it without needing to break its Wonder Guard. Or you can run it with... what would be a good example of another bit to use? Oh, you could turn off the Azumaril's huge power, meaning it does like half damage, which is pretty good. You can turn off the Ursaluna's guts, meaning that the burn on it is actually halving its damage instead of doubling it, which is pretty fun. But the sleeper way to use this Pokemon is to run it in doubles. With a Regigigas or a Slacking. You want to run this thing with a Pokemon in doubles match with something that's got a negative ability. Like, you can run it with Archeops with its Defeatist, meaning it's super fast and it's super hard all the time, not only when it's above 50% health. You can run it with a Slacking to turn off Truant, so you've just got a 160 base attack monster on your field. You can run it with Regigigas to get rid of Slow Start, meaning you've got the terrifying, like, box art legendary stat line of Regigigas, which has got a comparable stat line to a Groudon, but in low tier. This thing could go hard, and I've seen it. I actually was running across a lot of them in the doubles matches that I've been encountering. Recently. There were a lot of people trying to get, like, Slacking and Regigigas to pop off with a Wheezing on their team. Using a very defensive Wheezing, like, is a lot of good. It's a good setup. It was kind of hard countered by my team, though, which was unfortunate for them. Rocking, like, Garchomp and Corviknight being my main openers. Slacking Regigigas bounce off Corviknight, and they could not really do a ton to a Garchomp either, particularly a Garchomp with Clear Amulet, meaning that, which isn't turned off, by the way. Items aren't turned off. So yeah, good mons, really cool utility. Not for me, but I know people who run them, and I know people who love them, so it's a comfortable C tier. Not my vibe, but very cool if you like to use the weird, like, weaker Pokemon. Well, if you like to use really powerful Pokemon with bad abilities. These things are cracked. And also they're fine, right? Coughing! Wheezing! It got a good call. Still run Machamp. Yeah, I get you. No guard Machamp. Hell yeah. Now for this one. Galor Weezing, the last Kanto Pokemon, which is technically not a Kanto Pokemon, it's a form of a Kanto Pokemon, but still. Galarian Weezing, it's a Misty Terrain Pokemon, but you never see it really run with Misty Terrain in my scene for it. You always see it run with Levitate. Old school Kanto, absolutely. Weirdly, I've not really used a Machamp. You'd be surprised. Yeah, just not particularly used. There's other Pokemon I'd rather use from Kanto. I always had like a Gyarados and stuff on my team. Vaporeon was my favourite water type from Kanto, but still. I didn't really run fighting types in Kanto too much. But yeah, Galar Weezing, I will say, as much as I hate this thing, it's designed to be... Basically, this Pokemon, I can give it, with Levitate, it's designed pretty much to be the ultimate Garchomp counter, right? That's what I really say for it. It is designed as a good check for something like Garchomp. This Pokemon is the reason why my Garchomp set always runs Iron Head, because you turn that from a, oh, you're kind of weak, you have no answer to this Pokemon because it levitates above Earthquake, and it gets around Scale Shot, which I don't run, or Dragon Claw, which I do, because of the Fairing type. It's a levitating Fairy type, which is nasty against Garchomp. But it's also a levitating Fairy type with no steel resistance, so I just run Iron Head and just smack that thing in the fucking face. And flatten it. Yeah. So, Galar Weezing is a good mon. I personally hate it, but I know why people love it. So I will put it in C tier. Below regular Weezing, I've got more of a soft spot. Also, the top hat, it's cool. It's fine. But not for me. Anyway. Congratulations, everybody. We made it out of Kanto. My fucking god, it only took 46 minutes to get through the Gen 1 poison type. That is generally about half the list. Not kidding. God damn it, like, Game Freak. Why did you make so many poison types for Kanto? Like, holy crap. Was it like a political statement or something? We technically went through some more gens as well, because a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon got remade. And because a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon get remade with different versions, we got a lot of poison-type remakes, basically. But hey, people do like them. And I'd say poison types are pretty cool. Now, we get some very fun mons. Gen 2, I quite like one of the main poison types for Gen 2. Gen 2 has Ariados in it, and Spinarak. I'm a big fan of spiders. People know I'm a big fan of spiders. I actually at some point want to do, I don't know what it would be in. I want to do a spider-only run of a Pokemon game. I don't really know what game I'd do it in. But I think that could be very, very cool to do. And maybe we want to wait for a couple more spiders to come out. But there's a lot of really cool Spider-Mons. As I pretty much talked about in the bug type review when we did that a while back with my tier lists. The bug type Pokemon are really, really cool in general. And spiders, I'm a big fan of spiders. So, obviously, they're going to get a good review. Spinarak, I think I'll put about here. And Ariados I'll put a bit above it. I genuinely love these Pokemon. They're very cool. They're one of the worst spiders. But here's the thing. I have run Ariados. And a lot of the spider Pokemon. People really sleep on these things because it's like, oh, they've got terrible stats. They're never making any use. Genuinely, I have run a lot of these. Because most people go, oh, you run them with a sash. And you give them Sticky Web. Because they learn Sticky Web. Pretty much all the spider Pokemon get Sticky Web. Sticky Web is an insanely good move. You can build your entire team around it. You send it out first, you put Sticky Webs down, expect to die, maybe get an attack off if you're lucky. But usually, you're literally just doing it to get the Sticky Webs out. This is why you run these Pokemon. I have genuinely run them with Sticky Webs still on it, because you're not going to like ruin your entire set by not running Sticky Webs. Come on. But you can actually run a lot of the spiders. They've got mediocre bulk. But if you actually invest in their bulk and attack stat, they can do some damage. And I've done that with Ariados. I've run an Ariados in the same way that I've run a Raquinid before. Where I've gone, no Focus Sash. I've run it max health, max attack. To get down the Sticky Webs. Because they will do... Basically, people will do an attack into it, expect it to get Focus Sashed. It only does about half the health of the Pokemon. They go, oh, wait a minute, I need to switch. And by the point they've realised that, you've got the Sticky Webs down. and they'll switch into an attack. So you can basically get a little bit more damage off and not have to run Focus Sash. Which I've actually found is quite a fun little like way to do it. As I say, I love Ariados. I've run this thing with weird abilities before. I've run it with Quick Claw, which has been fun. Because it's quite a slow Pokemon. I'm pretty sure you can run it in Trick Room as well. I don't know if it'd be good in Trick Room because obviously you're slowing down your opponent's team as well. With Sticky Webs usually, but maybe. It gets Shadow Sneak, which is hysterical. Because you go big attack and they go, oh, I'm just going to outspeed it and kill on the next turn, and then you Shadow Sneak and kill them on. It's been very funny. It gets good at offensive moves, gets Poison Jab, Mega Horn, a lot of other fun little tricks which hit surprisingly hard. So yeah, this thing can be a very fun Pokemon to run, genuinely. Sticky Web counter, exactly. I have actually run Sticky Web counters before. That's quite often the thing I do. I love running Magic Bounce, which bounces the webs back at your opponent. It's hysterical. I actually went up against someone who used Sticky Webs against themselves, actually. They ability swapped Magic Bounce onto my Pokemon, and they were running a Trick Room team, and they Sticky Webs'd me. Meaning that the ability check went onto them. I bounced the Sticky Webs back on them, and then all their Pokemon was slower, meaning they guaranteed won the Trick Rooms to beat times. Which was kind of cool. I really didn't expect it, I was going to be honest. Caught me off guard. But yeah, I love Ariados. Ariados is great. Now for another good Pokemon, the best Gen 2 Poison type, and it's not even close. Is Crobat. Let's be honest here. They turned Zubat in from being one of the most aggravating Pokemon in existence that's really, really bad to one of the strongest Pokemon in Gen 2. Genuinely. I am putting you directly behind Gengar himself. Crobat is an amazing Pokemon. I have used it a little bit in Pokemon, I believe, again. It's just a good Pokemon to have on your team. It's super fast. It hits pretty hard. It gets some pretty good moves. It gets like cross poison, things like that, which is just nice to have. It can do a lot of work. It genuinely can. And I would love if this thing got a Mega, genuinely. I think Mega Crobat would get a really sick Mega. So, kind of an expectation, in my opinion, of I could see a Mega Crobat. I also could see no Mega Crobat, and I was getting like a Zubat offshoot species, which has a different final evolution, which I think would also be kind of cool. But I think they're going to do something with it. Because it hasn't had any updates since Gen 2, where they added Crobat. So, I could see it. Paldean Wooper. Everyone loves Paldean Wooper. Like, what am I saying? Like, we put you here. We know you like your pooper. Paldean Wooper is godly. We all love it. Great Pokemon. I've gained more fondness for Quagsire as I've gotten older. And Clodsire, to me, is better Quagsire. It's cooler Quagsire in, like, every way. So, yeah, it's getting a good one. We'll get to Clodsire later. Where are you? There you are. Glorious Pokemon. But yeah, that's going to be a good one. Galarian Slowking. Now, I do like the Evil King vibe, which they've given it. Which is it's a fun edit, considering that normal Slowking is like a benevolent, like happy king. And then we've got the Evil King. It's a cool vibe. It gets really cool abilities, because it gets chilly reception, it's going to regenerate, it's tanky as balls. It's a good mon. Galarian Slowking is a really, really good mon. But again, it's not for me. I've never been one of the biggest fans of the slow bro, slow poke, slow king line. I just don't really like him. But I get people liking them. And I will say, this one I massively prefer to slow bro. I've always thought slow king was cooler than slow bro. So, yeah. You're getting the highest spot currently in C tier, which I think is a respectable spot for me, given them, because I don't really like the Pokemon. I will admit they're cool, but they're not for me, and I know a lot of people love them more than I do, right? Just one of those things. So my chat appears to have busted. One moment. We just got an error message. Are we okay? We are okay. Good. Now, regular Quillfish. Okay. Here's finally a Pokemon Yeah, it was just an error message came up on my Twitch. It's fine. I literally just refreshed the page and it fixed it. So, I'll just keep an eye on you, Twitch. Behave yourself. Yeah. And I literally just went, there is an error with your chat loading. And I went, oh shit, what happened? But we're all good. And I can see the messages. Yes, don't worry. I don't like quillfish. I don't like regular quillfish. I like pufferfish as Pokemon. But I like pufferfish as Pokemon as animals. I think pufferfish are cool. I've actually swam with pufferfish, genuinely, in Egypt. And I think in the Mediterranean as well. But particularly in Egypt, I remember swimming with a pufferfish in Egypt, which was really, really cool. It didn't inflate. I didn't piss it off. But I never really liked quillfish. Regular quillfish, to me, is one of the most forgettable Pokemon. Genuinely. It's a disappointment. Pokemon. I don't really like its design. It's just kind of bad. The only thing it has going for it is it has Intimidate. And if you're going to use it for Intimidate, use something else. Hell, use Arbok. Arbok's better than regular quillfish. And Arbok's not good. So, yeah. I can't give regular quillfish a good spot. I don't like it. I don't think anyone really likes regular quillfish. So for me, you get in a D tier. We've got the first D tier on the list, regular quillfish. Now I will say, regular quillfish is terrible. Hisuian quillfish, however, that goes kind of hard. I like the new design. I like that the shiny goes like white, and it looks really much better. They did a good job with it. Also, it's a Hisuian Pokemon that you can catch in the current day. You can catch it in Blueberry Academy in Pokemon Scarlet. Actually has Hisuian Quillfish swimming around, which means you can get Overquill. And yeah, it's got an evolution, so Hisuian Quillfish is significantly better. You can give it Eviolite, which is something that regular Quillfish can't, but it needs. It's a good Pokemon. It genuinely is. You are getting a comfy A tier, but a lower A tier. I put you between Venomoth and Venonat, I think is a solid spot. We are going to get to Overquill later, because you are in the Gen 8 section, I believe. Where are you? There you are. Yeah. We'll get to you later. Don't worry. But yeah. Very, very cool Pokemon. And a massive upgrade from the original. That's my main one. A lot of the ones, if I go... If you're going to make a regional variant of the Pokemon, it's got to be something quite different. Like, familiar, but different. And it's got to have, like, a different way to use it. Technically, Hisuian Quillfish and Overquill play kind of the same as normal Quillfish, but they're just way better at it. And because they're not water types anymore, they get the Dark type, and Dark Poison is a fantastic type combination, as you saw with the Alolan Muck. Dark Poison is one of the best types in Pokemon. Genuinely. It's only weak to ground. It's immune to Psychic. Can't be poisoned. Really, really, really good typing. Now we go to a fun one. Another regional variant. This is Hisuian Sneasel. Hisuian Sneasel. Which is cracked. I love it. I like the color scheme of regular Sneasel better, I will say. I prefer the black and red coloration. But Hisuian Sneasel is still an amazingly good Pokemon. I think I'll put you here. I prefer you a bit to Bulbasaur. It's absolutely cracked. It's a cute Pokemon. I love that they made a regional version of it. It's also, I believe, one of about 2 regional variants that don't share a typing with their original forms, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the only other one is Alolan Vulpix to Ninetales, right? Because I think every other regional variant keeps a typing. I'm pretty sure. I could very well be wrong, but I'm pretty sure those are the only 2 that are completely different, typing-wise. Which I have a lot of respect for, because I think it's kind of cool. At least with a double type as well. Because with Vulpix into Ninetales, they wanted to make the ice version of it, so they couldn't really give it fire. I believe Darmanitan, in its Zen mode at least, keeps the fire typing. So it kind of keeps the same typing in a weird way. But this is a dual type that completely changes it, because it's not Dark Ice anymore, it's Poison Fighting, which is a really cool idea. It also hard counters itself, which I find very funny. It's also a mon. Like, a lot of the mons they get regional forms. They kind of needed it for one reason or another, like to make them better or to give them more options. Hisuian Sneasel and Sneasler kind of play like Weavile and Sneasel, honestly. And Weavile and Sneasel are both extremely good Pokemon. So, yeah, we are... it's an interesting concept that we are going to get... That we've got new versions of them. It's kind of neat. Dustox... I did use you in Gen 3, but I really enjoy using you. You might be... You're fine. I'll give you C tier. I won't put you in D tier. You're fine. You're kind of cool. Like, it's neat. I don't know anybody that really loves this thing. Beautifly's way better. For me, I vastly prefer it, but... Dustox is fine. It's fine, right? Nothing too special about it. It's just kind of a neat little poison bug. It's fine. Roselia, I quite like Roselia. It's nothing crazy. You're probably getting a B tier from me. We'll get to Roserade later. I do love Roserade. Roserade's not too far away, don't worry. But Roselia itself is kind of fun Pokemon. I used it a little bit in Gen 3. Wasn't too wowed by it, but it was fine. I thought the design is quite nice. For me, if I look at Roselia, I think I can see a through line with the design perspective from Roselia to Hisuian Lilligant. I've always thought they looked very similar, like they were related in some way. So, my headcanon is that Roselia and Lilligant are kind of related, which I guess they are both flower Pokemon, and they are both little ladies. So, kind of makes sense that there'd be like a through line, but I've always thought that. There is a, there's a design. I feel like if the same designer made them, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. And they're both great designs, so I like it. You're not going to get to the heights of Oddish, though. We're not, let's not go crazy here. Gulpin and Swalot, genuinely meh. Never been a big fan. Don't like you, really, at all. I put Swalot below. I think Gulpin at least is funny for Smash Brothers. I've never really liked these Pokemon at all. They need something, right? For me, these are Pokemon that are, to me, designed to be bad Pokemon. Like, not every Pokemon is designed to be good. Let's be perfectly honest. Some Pokemon are designed to be random little trash mob. But I think every Pokemon should have a way, and I've seen people do some serious work with Swalot. Do not get me wrong. I know you can make it work. But you're putting in a lot of effort to make this thing work, and I do not think it's worth it. It's not got a particularly good design. It's one of my least favorite Gen 3 Pokemon. What else can I really say? It's not really got anything going for it. And one of the D tiers. I don't say I despise the Pokemon. Don't really like the Pokemon, though. Seviper's got a great design, though. I want an evolution of Seviper or something. I know it's technically got the thing with Zangoose, so I think if we got Megas of both of them together, I think that would be cracked. If we got a regional Seviper, I think that would be pretty cool. I want them to do something with Seviper, because Seviper is a really cool Pokemon. I love its design. Its stats are bad. It's got a really good moveset. I will say that. It's kind of like Arbok again. But I genuinely prefer its design to Arbok, in all honesty. So I will put you directly above Arbok, because I like them a comparable amount, but I slightly prefer Seviper's design. Even though Arbok's the OG. I just love Seviper's design. I love the giant saber fangs. I love the blade tail. I love the black design. It looks cool. It just looks cool. Bodu, you're quite cute. I will put you around Roselia, because you are an adorable little being of a Pokemon. So yeah, I can't really comment Bodu. Bodu's fine. Genuinely. I'm happy they made a baby form. Exactly, right? I think it's like slightly worse as a Pokemon, hilariously enough, but it's a better design. It's a genuinely better design. They cooked with Seviper. Roserade, however. Roserade is nuts good. I love this Pokemon. Monstrous special attack stat. Pretty good, just all-round Mon. Again, it's a Cynthia Mon, which I always love. They get Cynthia points. I'm going to put you above Tentacruel. You're not quite S tier for me, but you are a high A tier. I really like this Mon. It's Roselia, but they made it better. Also, the most time I've used this Pokemon, in all honesty, is in Pokemon Infinite Fusion, where I fused this thing with a Chandelure, and it made one of the coolest fusions I have ever seen. In fact, I'll get the picture up for it. Just as an aside. For a brief moment. Just want to get the image up. I do not know the name of the artist that made it. I really hope I can actually find the correct one as well. You'll be in Gen 4. I think we're in Gen 3 at the moment. Okay, well, Roserade must be later on. Because I found Budu and Roselia in the fusion decks, but I haven't found Roserade yet. Because for some reason they're not marked to get next to each other. There you are, Roserade. And now let's get to... They've added a lot... Oh, that Beautifly one looks great. Roserade is a really good baseline Pokemon to do a lot of the fusion stuff with Infinite Fusion with. Because it's a very pretty Pokemon, obviously, which is a good start. And they can really, really cook with it to make it just pop. We're getting there. Apologies if this is an aside. But I just think this one deserves to be showed off again. Also, I highly recommend people go and get Pokemon Infinite Fusion, join the Discord for it, and download the sprite packs, because they do some really cool work. Make a lot of really, really pretty Pokemon. And they're a blast to use as well, because it's a fun, like, silly game. Infinite Fusion. And you can just mix Pokemon together. They've got a lot of Pokemon in the game, and a lot of very fun fusions for it. I recommend doing the randomizer to get more crazy stuff. There is like a, this is the whole way to do it, but... Ah, here we go. Found it. Yeah. Okay, I got it working. Look at that beautiful sprite that somebody made. I wish I could... Actually, wait a minute. I think the artist has... But yeah, that is a beautiful fusion. That is Chandelure fused with Roserade on Infinite Fusion. And it's really powerful, and it looks beautiful. So, yeah. Pokemon Infinite Fusion, give it a try, genuinely. It's a blast. Oh, I would love it, yeah. It's a cool mod. It's a really cool mod. And yeah, it was one of my favorites. It was up there with Volcarona mixed with Glaceon for just some of the really, really good... make this a really, really cool... Anything fused with Chandelure looked amazing because it just made a purple flaming version of the Pokemon, which was always good. But Roserade was one of the ones that really popped for it. But yeah, Roserade, love it. Great Pokemon. Yeah, can't say more. Now, I will go with these next ones. I don't really like this mon, to begin with. I have never liked Stunky or Skuntank. I just don't like them. They are an immediate D tier for me. Probably my least favorite poison types. I'm trying to think. Are there any ones I like less? No. Yeah. These ones are not very... They're good Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. Dark and Poison type is a really good typing, as I've said before. I just don't like these ones. There's Dark Poison types that I vastly prefer. As you can tell by the fact that they're higher up on the list, Alola Muck I think is way better than Skuntank. I think it's just cooler. Skuntank, it gets some weird moves. I'm not a skunk guy either. I don't really like skunk Pokemon. Just outright. I don't like skunk as the animal. It's fine. I have also smelled skunk spray before, and it's disgusting. Not the worst thing in the world I've smelled, that's hedgehog poop. But skunks, I've never been the biggest fan. So, yeah. Not a huge fan of Skuntank or Stunky. I know people love them. I just don't. Skorupi and Drapion, however... Oh yes, Drapion, a much better Dark Poison type. Skorupi, I'm really sad that these two don't share the same typing. I think that would actually be kind of a cool one. But they're actually really, really cool Pokemon. I really like Skorupi and Drapion. About the same amount as each other. I would put them about here. I think we need more Scorpion Pokemon. I will actually comment that before. Because there are Scorpions. I think we need more, because there's not many. And we don't have a classic Scorpion. I would love a big, dark fire type Scorpionmon just to exist in Pokemon. Right? Or make it a bug fire type. Like a big physical bat powerhouse bug fire type, maybe. I know bug fire type is kind of Volcarona's thing, and Volcarona is the only like good one we know of, but it could be cool. Or or like a dark and bug type, which I think would also be cool, or something. I think we need a Scorpion Pokemon because we've kind of got a few almost Scorpions, like we've got Gligar and Gliscor, which are sort of Scorpions. We've got Drapion, which is a sort of Scorpion. We need an actual Scorpion. We need like a straight up, this is a Scorpion. This is what it's designed after. Make it a giant one. Make it cool. Make it you could make it the starter regional bug type and it not be particularly good. Or you can make it something a real powerhouse beat stick like some of the late game, like some of the bug types from Gen 5, right? Which we're getting to a bug type from Gen 5 soon and I'm excited because it's one of my favorites. Okay, Toxicroak and Krogunk. I've never been the biggest fan of these. I know people love them. Do not get me wrong. I know people love them. I'm not really a big fan. They are very good Pokemon. But they're not for me. I have to give these things a C tier because they're not for me. I think I prefer Krogunk's design to Toxicroak. But yeah, they're not for me, so they're getting a C tier. They're fine. They're cool Pokemon. I know people love them. People really love them. It's one of my a buddy of mine's favorite poison type. I know a lot of people who love this thing. And it's not bad. It's got a massive attack stat. I've used it to some effect as well, so I've got some respect for this mon, but I don't really like it particularly. There's Pokemon I'd much prefer to use. Particularly for poison fighting types, I'd prefer to use a Sneasler, but Sneasler's nearly always banned because it's broken as shit. Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm never particularly going to use one on a real serious team, though. Now we get to one of my favorite Pokemon type. One of my favorite Pokemon. One of my favorite bugs. And people know how much I love the Gen 5 bugs. Nearly every Gen 5 bug type is amazing. And really cool in some design. Like, my least favorite is Leaveney, and I quite like Leaveney. So... Gen 5 is a generation of the bugs. And... I think my top 3 favorite bug types were all Gen 5 bugs. Actually, no, it was close. I like Araquanid as well, but I know those two that was also a close one. But my favorite bug is Gen 5 with Volcarona. I love Araquanid, I love Galvantula, and I love this next line, Scolopede's line. I fucking adore Scolipede. This to me is the reason why Beedrill has fell off for me in personal favor. Because Scolipede is Beedrill, but better in every way and cooler in every way. Venipede, Whirlipede, and Scolipede. So Venipede, easy S tier. Probably about here. I think I prefer it to Ghastly. I'm not sure I prefer it to Haunter. Whirlipede, you're also S tier, but I don't really like your design as much as the others. Scolipede, however. Scolipede, you are here. I actually prefer Scolipede to Gengar. I am not kidding. I really fucking like Scolipede. I love this thing. Speed boost, sword stance, Scolipede is hysterically fun to use. Poison jab, bug bite, just, it's a nightmare. If also anybody remembers my go-through on Pokemon Mo of Gen 5, my Scolipede, which I randomly caught, by the way, was an almost perfect IV'd off the catch. Scolipede didn't have speed boost, but it's just a good mon. It's just a really, really good Pokemon. I love its design. I love, like, just the giant millipede version. Like, it's an Arthropleura, which is a really, really cool bug. Just in general is what it's based on. I love this thing. It's really, really cool. Jamie, one of my favorite bug types, in all honesty. Slightly prefer Oddish to it, and Vileplume, but this thing is comparable with Gengar for me and how much I like it. I had a really hard time in Gen 5 not just making an entirely bug team, in all honesty. If I get bugs in Gen 5, I will be very happy. Well, because at some point I am going to continue on the monotype runs in Pokemon. In Pokemon Mo, I will at some point when I get more in the mood to do it. And because with random roller, I will be very, very happy if I get bugs in Gen 5 because Scolipede is on the table. I believe Scolipede was also someone's starter in Kanto, because basically if we don't have a starter option, we basically do a big spin wheel to see all the viable starters, which is any 3 stage, which keeps the type the whole way through. And Scolipede was, I believe, one of the bug type ones, and it was the bug type they rolled. So they had a Scolipede in Kanto, which destroyed most of Kanto on its own. Very, very powerful Pokemon. Now then. Trubbish Garbodor and G-Max Garbodor. I think Trubbish and Garbodor are fine. I think people give them a way worse rep than they deserve. I think they're okay. They're not really for me again. I'll put it as that. They're okay. So I'm going to put them here. I do think they're kind of cool Pokemon. I've never used them, but wouldn't mind giving them a try, and they might get higher up in my ranks. But they're just fine. Right? They're fine. I think they could be a lot worse, and people give them way too much crap. They're not bad. Like, they are just a dump come to life, which is not a great one, but it's like, they're kind of cool. Okay, we get to the sus rooms. Fungus and Amoongus. I gotta put these guys in B tier, right? Like, they just are. They are really fucking good Pokemon. Amoongus is a terrifyingly good Pokemon. Particularly in doubles, gets Rage Powder, Spore, tanky as fuck, gets Regenerator, so it's really tough. It's just a really, really good mon, and Fungus, I kind of like it. It's kind of cute. They also, again, look delicious. Also, Sushroom. You got it right. It's a cool Pokemon, and people love them. People do love them. They're fine. It's a not for me, but in a I can imagine using this Pokemon. Not for me, which is much better than the C tier one. Okay, here's one of the other water types on this list. Skrelp. I love Skrelp. I like seahorses in general. I think this Pokemon is kind of cool. I will put you about here. I do prefer Tentacruel to Skrelp. I will 100% say that. But Skrelp is also a baby. But it's got a good design. I like its design. It just works. It kind of pops quite hard. It also has a very, very nice shiny. Same with its dad, Dragalge, the Dragon Poison type. The only non-legendary Dragon Poison type as well. I don't care what people say about the Ultra Beasts not being legendaries. Naganadel, at least, is definitely a legendary to me. But Dragalge, I love Dragalge. You are getting an S tier. I have used this thing quite a bit. Not quite as high as the others. Not these. But Dragalge it's an adaptability dragon type for a start. It's a special attacker. It's got I think it's got the same special defense as Lugia. It's absurdly tough on the special side. I've run this thing in multiple ways. You can run it a lot of ways. It's pretty damn slow is the problem. But it's got adaptability, which means it hits really hard if it gets the chance. It's not super tanky except on the special side. I have run this thing as an absolute special wall, though. I have run it with an assault vest before, and it can do some work. I'd say next time I run this thing, I might run it as a all-round tank. I might max its health, max its physical defense, give it an assault vest, give it modest nature, and just let its special defense do its job for it. With the assault vest, it'll be very, very tanky. And then just give this thing monstrously powerful attacking moves. Like, I think it gets Scald, because it gets good water moves. It never gets Hydro Pump. You can get good poison moves for it, which are special attacks, which is nice with adaptability, so it hits even harder. It gets Draco Meteor. It's a cool mon. Adaptability Dragon type is just a fun idea, because adaptability Draco Meteor, which is cool. Now then. So, before I have said, if anyone saw my favorite Pokemon of all time list, which I did a while back, where I literally ranked every single mon. I ranked my favorite type, my favorite mon from every type from every generation, right? You might remember a particular mon got on the list as one of the very few non-pseudo-legendary or legendary mons to get my favorite of its generation. Because I adore this mon. If anyone's seen me play competitive Pokemon, you know I love this Pokemon. Marini and Toxapex, the Pokemon I was the most excited to use in Gen 9 when I started, because I'd never used it because I hadn't played Sword and Shield or Sun and Moon. And I knew Toxapex was a beast. I loved the look of it. I love Marini so much. You are immediately the top of S tier, and you are staying there. Nothing is topping my favorite Poison-type Pokemon, Toxapex. Marnie, you're at the top spot, girl. I love you. Also, one of my first shinies, genuinely, I got an accidental shiny Toxapex by trying to get one that had Merciless as its ability. 100% true. I got a shiny Toxapex. I don't really like the shiny either. I think the regular is a better color scheme. It's kind of white and pink, the shiny, which is fine. But I love Toxapex so much. It's a beautiful Pokemon. It's an absolute tank. I have won so many games of singles with Toxapex. Genuinely. This thing is a bunker, and I love it. I think it's very cute. I think it's got a good mix of cute and cool design. It's very good in battle. It's one of my two favorite water types, genuinely. This and Milotic compete for my favorite water type. In all honesty, 100%. I don't know why. Well, I do know exactly why. It's good. It's great. It just ticks every single box. It's great. I love this Pokemon so much. And it's my favorite poison type. It just is. Sorry to all the others, which I do like a lot of these other poison types, but Toxapex is my favorite. I knew I wanted to use it, and I was very happy. It was one of my original playthrough of Gen 9 team members. It helped me get through the game. My team, I don't remember my full Gen 9 starter team. I know I got rid of Skeledirge eventually. Skeledirge was really good, but I wanted to try out some different Pokemon. And Skeledirge was really, really good, but I wanted to try other Pokemon. And Skeledirge is great, but I want to try other stuff. And Toxapex was on my team. It was my water type. I remember I had Garchomp, Toxapex, Baxcalibur was on there. Great Tusk was on there. I remember that was on my original team. I had some more Gen 9 ones on there, but I don't remember all of them. I had Corsair briefly, but not for very long. Try to remember what my other mons were. It was all ones I just liked. One moment, I'm going to look up the gen now. Pokedex. Paldea. I'm going to literally look up the Paldea Pokedex to try to remember my team. No. I didn't have Corviknight because I had Corviknight for the first DLC. You got switched out. You got switched out. I think I had God of War. I think I had God of War. Definitely had Goober. Obviously, I had Goober on the team. I don't think I had Garganical, because I think I had Garganical for a later on thing. Did I have Annihilate? I might have had Annihilate. I didn't have an Evolution. Didn't have you. Didn't have you. Didn't have you. Oh, Tinkerton, obviously. How have I forgot my girl? My daughter. Didn't have you because you were in the wrong game. Don't think I had a T-Tar. I might have had a T-Tar. No, I don't think I did. Actually, I had T-Tar, a different thing. I had Toxapex. Didn't have you. Didn't have you because you were too late in Evolution. You were in the first DLC. Definitely had you. You were for the first DLC. You hard carried me through the first DLC, and had Baxcalibur. Okay, yeah, I think I figured my team out. It was a good team. It had a few weird cases on it, but it was a good team. Yeah, I think I might have a God of War on it. Okay. Anyway, back to the poison tip tier list. Salandit and Salazzle. A friend of mine fucking adores these Pokemon. I think they're pretty cool. But I'm not the hugest fan. I think Corrosion is a really cool ability. I think they are very good. Salazzle is a very, very good Pokemon, honestly. I think I'll put Salandit. I do like the design quite a bit. So I'll put you about here. And Salazzle, I'll put you about the same. I think they are an A-tier Pokemon. I think they are well-deserving of it. I've not really used it too much. But it's one of those Pokemon that I haven't used it, but think it would be cool. It's just there are other fire types I've commonly used. Right. And I've not played many games. I've only played, like, Scarvi through to absolute completion. I say the only part I haven't played is the epilogue of Scarlet Violet, so I haven't gotten Petrarch yet. But that's generally it. I've completed the Pokedexes for everything apart from Blueberry Academy, and I haven't caught Petrarch. But I've done the first 2 Pokedexes. And I think the only things I'm missing from the Blueberry Academy are the remaining starters for the regions I just haven't finished yet. I think I've caught everything else. Also, I got multiple shinies. Because that's what I do in Paldea, honestly. But yeah. Very cool Pokemon. But not really crazy. Are you Blacephalon? I don't think you are. Ultra Beasts. I know this is the squishy head one that fuses with... Nihilego, that's this one. The jellyfish of doom. Which does not look like it should be a rock type, by the way. It's a poison rock type. It really does not look like it. It looks like a marshmallow. It's got like a really squishy head. But I think this Pokemon's kind of cool, but it's not really for me again. But I think it's cool, and its design is very unique. I love the fusion one that was in Basic Sun and Moon, which I have seen in a clip. Where it fuses with Lily's mum. So, purely for that, you're getting into Alice Cooper tier. Because you are cool. You genuinely are very cool, man. It's very, very powerful. Poipole and Naganadel, you are very, very cool indeed. Poipole, I'll give you around here because you are quite cute. Naganadel, you gotta go in S tier. You are probably a lowish S tier though, because I've never actually used you, but I love your design and I've seen your stat line and of your moveset. You look good. I imagine I would enjoy using this Pokemon a lot, and it's a dragon type, which is always a plus. So yeah, that Pokemon is very, 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 very good. And I know it's very, very good. It's obscenely powerful. Now for these ones, I know people love Toxtricity. Toxel, Toxtricity, people love them. And the G-Max is quite a nice G-Max. There again, not for me. I will put these as C tier. Yeah. Actually, I'll go Toxel higher. I'll put Toxel higher. I'm sorry. They're not for me. I will give Toxel the highest points, though, because Toxel itself is very, very cute. I've just never really vibed well with them. With Toxtricity. I never have. It might genuinely be it's an electric type, and people know I don't really like electric types. It's also an electric type that super dies to ground. It's too slow. It's got good moves. But I've never really clicked for it. Now, I will say, the G-Max kind of redeems it in my eyes, though. The G-Max I quite like. I will put the G-Max in B tier. I think that G-Max is sick. I think it's one of the better G-Max designs. Outright. I'll put it in B tier, and I think that's a comfy spot for it. I love its G-Max, like he brings down the giant guitar, explosion. It's cool. I think it works better on all fours than the kind of weird standing pose which they have. That doesn't really click for me. But I think the big on all fours, like prepped up pros, does better for it. Eternatus, the giant legendary nuclear dragon. You know for a fact you're getting S tier. Let's not even sugarcoat it. Same with Master Hand form. I like Eternatus. I know it's a bit of a gimmicky one, but I love the design, honestly. I've always had a bit of a fondness for crazy, over-the-top designs. And Eternatus is literally supposed to look like Eldritch Horror Dragon, right? It's like the Radiation Dragon, for all intents and purposes. It's a fucking bizarre as hell Pokemon, but I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. It's a fun one. The Master Hand design is hilarious to me as well. That's goofy in the right kind of way for goofy. So yeah, that's my vote on Eternatus. I talked about it a lot in dragon types. It's a giant dragon. I do think I prefer Dragalge to it, though, weirdly. Maybe not. Yeah, let's put it back there. But yeah, very cool Pokemon. I've used it. It's been pretty fun to use as well. I love nuking things. Sneasler. Now, Sneasler's an interesting one for me. Because we've actually got a Hisui now. These are the purely unique to Hisui Pokemon. Sneasler, I thought Sneasler looked really, really, really dumb. Right? Didn't like its design. Thought it was garbage. Not a huge fan of it. Then I saw it in-game and just went, my god, do the pictures of this Pokemon not do it justice? This Pokemon's actually a really good design. But the pictures of it online do not do this mon the justice it actually does. It's kind of got a lanky Wolverine look. I always thought it looked a bit stupid. Then I saw it in game, it's like, oh, that's what that is. Yeah, it just doesn't do the Pokemon justice. It's actually a really good design. It's a really powerful Pokemon. That's what I think this thing is banned in, like, every tier that's not Ubers. And Ubers UU. This thing is insane. It's got one of the most... It's got a crazy broken ability. Well, it's Unburden, which is its default ability. But it's got a crazy broken move that's unique to it, which is... Dire Claw. Dire Claw is an 80 power, high critical hit slashing move. Which, what it does is... when it hits, there is a 30% chance for the Pokemon to be either slept, paralyzed, or poisoned. So something's happening to it. I think each of those is a 30% chance individually. So it's basically, like, almost guaranteed to have something happen to it, which is really, really good. And again, it's a high critical hit chance move. So, Sneasler, you are getting a really good move. I'd say you are probably about here. I have used you, and you are very, very fun to use. So I will give you a comfy spot there. Now we've got the Naval Mine. I said we'd get back to Overquill. I love the concept of a fusion of a pufferfish and a naval mine as an idea. I don't know who came up with that idea, but they cooked. It's such a cool one. And again, they made a really cool Pokemon. They made a really forgettable Pokemon, which is normal Quillfish. Get a regional form, which is way cooler, and then get one of the coolest regional form mons. And yeah, Overquill is great. Really powerful Pokemon. Really good design. It just slaps. What can I say? It just slaps. It's also got cool vibes. It's another Intimidate mon, which is really, really good. It gets good moves. It's correct. Now we get to another thing that everybody knows is not going to get a good mark. Grafaiai. Okay. Shroodle and Grafaiai. I know you're great. Don't get me wrong. I actually like Eyes as an animal as well. But I hate this mon. I really don't like it. It's not really done anything too offensive to me. Like a lot of other mons in it. But people know I don't really like monkey mons to begin with. Right? Which is not a good start. It's one of the better monkey mons. I will give it that. But I don't like it. It's a prankster mon. It's aggravating. Squirrel with a gun. Oh dear. But yeah, Grafaiai, I don't really like it. I like what it can do for Pokemon. In double battles, it's a doodle. It's got doodle, which basically means that it takes your opponent's ability and puts it on itself and its partner, I believe, or you can target its partner to do it. So you can do stuff with slacking with it, right? Because you give it to you basically get rid of Truant from slacking, give it some like guts or mirror armor or something really, really good. You can absolutely make this Pokemon really, really powerful and make it do some crazy, crazy stuff. It's a really good support Pokemon. It's really, really aggravating. Unfortunately, it's a really good support Pokemon. It's really, really aggravating, and I don't like using it, which means it's just aggravating. But yeah, not for me. I don't particularly like it. If you love it, I get why. But a lot of people I know don't love it for itself. They love what it can do with other Pokemon for them. And usually I'm not a huge fan of Pokemon that do that. I like Pokemon that can do something on their own and don't require the team. Even if it's a Pokemon that you have options to do that with. This Pokemon, its only option is to be a support. And I don't really like that. I like Pokemon that can be a support, can do other things. Like, currently, in my doubles UU team, that's the word I was looking for, my support Pokemon is a Gyarados. I have a support Gyarados on my doubles UU team. And it does work. Yeah, exactly. There are some support mons, which I really, really like. But they also have at least an option, even though it's not a particularly great option, to do something else, like a Whimsicott. People know I love Whimsicott. It's support mon. It's known to be a really good support mon. It's one of the most powerful support mon ever. But you can also run it just choice specs and really, really fast and hit like a truck, right? There's other options for those Pokemon. And that's the thing. Grafaiai's only support. And I don't like only support. Varoom and Revaroom. The V8 engine. I know a lot of people love these things. It's another not for me one. I think it's a cool design. It's a steel poison type, which is kind of cool. This thing can get filter, which is scary. Hilariously, you have to get a hidden ability Varoom. Hidden ability Varoom, I believe, is slow start. But it then gets filter later on, so It can be really, really good, but it's hilarious that it has one of the worst abilities in the entirety of Pokemon, and then it turns into one of the best, which I find very, very funny. So yeah, I think it's a hilarious thing. And this Pokemon, I know a lot of people really like it. It's got shift gear, which is really cool. Not for me, but I know a lot of people love it. I can't give it a D tier because I don't dislike it. I kind of wish it got the moves from the star bosses, because basically the star bosses, their big final boss for each of them, is a Reverum in like a giant suit, basically, that turns into a giant car. I really wish the Reverum got those moves. I genuinely wish it could get those moves. Even if it was just remembering them. They're really overpowered moves, but I think it would be kind of cool, because Pokemon's okay. And I think if it got those moves, it would be really fun. But they're unique to those only things. They're unique to just the star cars. Which I'm like, that's a bit of a shame. I would have vastly preferred if they actually got the moves. Now here's a support mon that I generally quite like. It's primarily a support mon. I will 100% say that. But this is an example of a support mon that has other options. With Glimmet and Glimmora. Because this thing, while it's, yes, a big support mon, because it gets all the... This is the Hazards R Us Pokemon. It gets spikes, it gets rocks, it's got toxic debris, meaning it puts out poison spikes every time it gets hit. This thing is Hazards R Us. I think the only hazard it doesn't get is sticky webs. But this thing is good. Geeta does not do it justice. Geeta uses this thing as her final Pokemon. In the post-game tournament, she uses it as her opener, and it's a good opener. It is one of the best opener Pokemon you can possibly throw out. It's got a monster special attack stat, decent defenses, really bad weaknesses, of course. Dies to ground so hard. But then puts out the toxic spikes and things as well. So, has its good uses. So this thing, Glimmet, I will put you about here. And Glimmora, I will put you about here. Actually, I'll put just behind Nidoqueen. Because you're cool, but I do prefer Nidoqueen. It's a really cool mod. I've not got a chance to use it. I might use it in one of the future games. It's kind of cool. You can get this thing before the final area as well. A lot of people think that these things are only found in the Paldean crater. They're not. You can actually find these things in cave systems before you get to the crater. Before the end game stuff. You can actually find these things. They're pretty rare, but you can find them. The God Clodsire! We know Clodsire is getting a good mark. Clod, yeah. You're just behind Roserade. I love Clodsire. I also love, so, weird bit of lore. Clodsire is called the Spiny Fish Pokemon. Which you look at it and go, why the fuck is it called the Spiny Fish Pokemon? It has no spikes. If you see very carefully on its back, it's got those little white spots. Those little white spots are retractable poison spines. I'm not kidding. When it does certain idle animations or does certain attacks, it points the spikes out of its body. It's got poison point. It's actually got spikes that are retractable. It's so weird. It's just a nice little touch. They cooked super hard with this mod. It's great. It's got Water Absorb or Unaware, both amazing abilities. Poison Ground type, kind of an okay ability. Like, typing, very thick. This thing is one of the slowest Pokemon I could possibly name. But it's super, super, super tough and super defensive. And loads of people love this thing. I know it is, I think, the favorite Pokemon of a very good VTuber, who's Ininamoy Inanis from Hololive. I believe Clodsire is her favorite Pokemon, which I have immense respect for. Clodsire is amazing. And yeah, Clodsire to me is a better Quagsire. And Quagsire I started to like more, but I started to like it more after realizing how good Clodsire is, just as a Pokemon design. And then it turns out Clodsire is really, really good as a mon as well. So, it's a really, 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 really solid Pokemon, and I really, really like it. So, yeah. That's better. Okay. Iron Moth, the satellite laser cannon. Now, I will say about Iron Moth, as I will state this as a statement right here and now. Iron Moth is worse Volcarona. Flat out. However, just because it's a bad imitation of Volcarona, it's still a good mon. It's got a great design. I will say that 100% with both the Volcarona variants, because there is Iron Moth and Slitherwing. I will say Iron Moth is the middle ground one, Slitherwing is the worst one in terms of competitive. But I will say both of them aren't crazy far behind Volcarona in terms of design. Slitherwing I think is an amazingly cool looking Pokemon. Iron Moth I think is an amazing cool looking Pokemon. Iron Moth is one of the best Iron Mons in my personal thoughts. It literally is just kind of worse Volcarona, genuinely. That's what I've always called it. It is very, very good, though. It is very good. I'd rather have Volcarona, but Volcarona is one of the best Pokemon ever made. Iron Moth isn't that good, but it's still a extremely good Pokemon. And you are getting, I will say it's low, but you are getting S tier. It's the satellite laser cannon. It's a really cool one. I love the concept for that. I've always loved the big satellite lasers from anime and stuff that have the big, like, fins coming out of it. I think that's a sick design. And Iron Moth, it works. It really does work. And let's face it, if there's any Pokemon that is deserving of 2 variant forms from both sides of Paradox, it's Volcarona. And they're not an insultingly bad version of the Pokemon like Iron Jugulus is compared to Hydreigon. Where I think Hydreigon is insanely cooler than Jugulus. Iron Moth and Slitherwing are both fine. They're both pretty good compared to Volcarona. In a vacuum, they're amazing Pokemon, though. Both, I would be happy with either of those designs on their own, without Volcarona existing. I think they would both be very cool Pokemon. I think Iron Jugulus is kind of shit by comparison. So yeah, Iron Moth, very good. Now we get to the final sections. The Loyal 3 and their boss, Petulant. I've actually used one of these Loyal 3 very recently. I was playing around with Okidogi in Pokemon Showdown. I had a really fun max health, max attack, adamant assault vest set with Okidogi, and genuinely, I really enjoyed it. This, I'd say, is the Mon of the Loyal 3 that I am the most, liking. It's got big bulky design, it's got great voice lines. I will put Okidogi here. A respectable spot, a good solid high A tier. I like this Mon, I think it's really, really cool. Dies super instantly to Psychic, but it's a cool Mon, it's got its vibe. I also like the bulky design, I think its color scheme slaps. It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Also, it's like a Corgi, but gigantic and muscly. I think it's kind of fun. Munkidori, I will say Munkidori is my least favorite of them. But for a monkey Pokemon, it's not bad. It's based on the Japanese macaque, I believe, which is actually kind of a cool monkey. But it's not really for me. It doesn't do anything special. That's always what I've said for it. It just is generic, fast, hard-hitting Psychic type. Right? So I'm putting Munkidori in B tier. It's cool for a monkey, but it's still a monkey. I'm not a fan of monkey-type Pokemon, of monkey-designed Pokemon in general. But Munkidori is one of the better ones in terms of, it's kind of cool. But it's just not for me, and if I wanted to use a super fast, hard-hitting Psychic type, I'd use Gardevoir or Alakazam, or one of the 457 other choices. Because what Psychic type does is it hits hard and it hits fast with special. Hey, Ivory. You have come right towards the end again. But yeah, Munkidori is fine. It's fine. It's not for me, but it's a very, very good mod. Comparatively, it's very good. It's not one of my favorites, though. Pheasantipede, however, because it's sus. Why do you think? Nah, Among Us is great. But it's just not one of my absolute favorites, but it's good. Remember B tier? Yeah, exactly, it's sus. No. B tier, remember, is good for me. C tier is my average tier. D is my dislikes. B and above is good. It's just how much do I like the Pokemon. Competitively, it's bustedly good. It's obscene. If it was pure competitively list, Among Us would be one of the top tiers. But this isn't competitive. This is how much I like the Pokemon. But yeah, Pheasantipede is good. It is a support Pokemon. It's super fast. It can do some serious work as well. I have done a lot of damage to people with Pheasantipede. Poison Fairy is a weird fucking typing as well. Kind of a cool typing, but a really fucking weird one. But it's quite good. I think it's the best of the Loyal 3. Don't quote me on that, but I remember people saying it was at least the best early on. I don't know if Okidogi's taken it, because I know Okidogi is pretty good. As well, but Pheasantipede is a cool mod. I love its design. They literally Okidogi has taken it. Cool. Because I know Okidogi is very, very good. And Fezandipity is also good. Genuinely, Fezandipity's lore is it asked Pecharunt to make it pretty. It nailed it. It's a very pretty Pokemon. 100%. So yeah, I do genuinely like Fezandipity, but it's dropped below Okidogi in my favoritism as well, because I've had much more fun using Okidogi. So I'll put you about, let's put you behind Paldea and Wooper. Let's put you behind God, which is a respectable spot. Yeah, I'd say I'm happy with that spot. And now Pecharunt. Pecharunt, I've actually not caught this one. I can't be asked to do the epilogue yet of Scarvi. I will get to it at some point. I have the item for it. So I can do it whenever I feel like it. I've seen clips of it. It looks hilarious. Pecharunt is a great Pokemon. I also think it's probably A tier. Most of what I've seen with Pecharunt is I've gone up against a lot of Pecharunts. Pecharunt was added in, I believe, on Showdown at least, the same patch, or the same update, that made Toxapex go down to UU. And Pecharunt's also a UU, which is my playground. And I've always preferred using Toxapex to Pecharunt. They kind of do the same job. Pecharunt is very good. I prefer Toxapex, but Toxapex, as you can see, is my #1 poison type. And Garchomp to UU. I think Garchomp was already in UU by that point, but it was for a while. And Garchomp just destroys Pecharunt. Then Garchomp got banned. So, my girl got banned. It was very sad. But yeah, Pecharunt is really, really cool. And I love it. I would say comfy A tier, but whereabouts in A tier? Do I prefer it to Salazzle? This is my question. Because I think it's around there. It's around where Nidoqueen is, I think. It's in the good spots. But I wouldn't put it in, like, my height. I don't think it beats out Roserade or Clodsire. Yeah, I think I put it behind Salazzle in front of Salandit. I think I'm happy with that. And that's a good spot for it. It's a great mon. It's Toxic Chain. What's it called? Poison Puppeteer, that's what it's called. Is a hilarious ability. It's a very have-to-play-around-it Pokemon, which I kind of like as a vibe. Because it's you have to play around it, but there's a lot of answers to it. Which I think is the correct way to make a Pokemon like that. Right? That's my preferred way of designing it. And I think it's one of the cooler... It's a very, very cool Pokemon. One of my least favorite mythicals, I will say. Also, it's got the same type against Gengar, which is respect. They finally added another one. But it's one of my least favorite mythicals, but that's not a bad statement to be in, because I like a lot of the mythicals, because a lot of the mythicals are really cute. And the Pecharunt is a very, very cool mon. But yeah, this is my tier list for poison types. I will zoom out so y'all can see the entire list. There. Yep, that is my poison type tier list. I love poison types, as I've said. There's a lot of really, really cool ones. There's a fairly large chunk of meh and bad, but the vast majority got in A tier, as you can see. And a few distinct lines got into S tier, with Toxapex leading the charge, then with my Onion next, with Scolipede, Gengar. There's a lot of really, really, really cool poison types. And I always have a fondness. I will quite often have a poison type on my team. Particularly now with the Toxic Spikes, where they get eaten by non-flying poison types, which I think is kind of sick. So you're actually not encouraged to have ones with Air Balloon or ones that are flying type, like Crobat. Which is a neat idea. I honestly think that there's a case to be made to have like a Crobat with a Heavy Ball, I think it's called, the one that makes flying types land, and using Fling because it's super fast, So you throw it at your opponent after eating the poison spikes, which I think would be kind of a cool idea. But yeah, I like a lot of Pokemon on this list. I was looking forward to doing poison types to gauge in my own brain where a lot of them sat. Because I knew where some of my absolute top spots were. Well, like, I love Oddish, I love Toxapex, I love Gengar, I love Scolipede. So I know they would all be in S tier. And a lot of, like, Eternatus and a few others would obviously also be up there. But I was going, what do I think for others? And where do I rate them? And yeah, it turns out a shitload of poison types for me are in A tier. Which is kind of cool. Like, I think a lot of them are deserving of A tier. They are cool Pokemon. And have really weird ways of being good. Like, I don't think there's any poison type on this entire list that is, this Pokemon will destroy my opponent's team and there's nothing they can do about it. Every single one is, this is what it's good at, this is what it's bad at. And it's very clear in what that is. A lot of them have versatility as well, but no one's going to be saying that the poison type destroys everything ever, right? There's not many people who are going to complain that a poison type is broken. Except maybe Toxapex with the, why won't this thing fucking die? But, yeah. It's a bit for it. And yeah, they've got very cool Pokemon. And they're really good. What can I say? They're just cool. Anyway, yes. So, what we will do. This is all we got time for today. We almost finished exactly on time. I will say some announcements for the end of the stream. First of all, it is September, so anyone who wants to buy a subscription, it is, I believe, 25% off until October 1st. So, hey, I believe I get the same amount of money, and you guys get a discount, so win-win, right? It's always a plus, so anyone who wants to subscribe, greatly appreciated, as always. You guys are the best. Take care of yourselves first, but yeah. It's always greatly appreciated. And yeah, you save money. If you want to help out, it's always much appreciated. And you help pay for my PC fund to get a better PC so I can do more games for you lot. Because my PC is getting on a bit. And I've needed new parts for a while. So, yeah. So that's the first announcement. Second announcement. Oh, I'm still going. I've still got another announcement. Second announcement. Altera is back on Friday. We are back with the D&D streams every Friday going forwards. Remember, it is 6 p.m.-ish till 9 p.m.-ish. It will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting back into the, I'd say, shoes, but Alvina doesn't wear shoes. Into playing Alvina Alanor. She is going to be an absolute delight to get back into the idea of again, and I'm looking forward to it. My homicidally insane, fire-breathing, all-consuming, dragon-obsessed elf barbarian girl. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a really, really fun time, and I'm really excited to get back in. We will be starting the next arc, going into the Oni King's controlled space station currently in the VoD, so it should be a good time. Meaning, if anyone wants to catch up on the, 108 episodes, they're on my YouTube channel. Do catch up if you really feel like it. If you want to get a full story of what's happening in Altera, the Shattered Ultimate at the moment. Otherwise, it'll be a delight just to pop in, just to have anyone hop in. You'll get a lot of in-jokes and stuff. Oh yeah, it's a lot. Each one is like 3 hours. So, what's it like? 100. I think it's 109 episodes. 109 times 3 equals... Okay, 327. 327 hours in days. Okay. Currently, we have about enough content for 2 weeks of non-stop watching. So there's some time. You got a lot. That is rounding to 3 hours an episode, by the way. A few of them went longer. But yeah, they're an absolute delight. The whole player base is a good time. You'll be able to tune in again on Friday. It will be a fun one. We'll be getting back into our headspace so you can join Alvina, Fuck You, Dr. Zormir, Gwent, The Point, back on the ship with all our NPCs. Did I miss somebody? I feel like I missed somebody. Lou Grim! I knew I missed someone! And Lou! The Cult Master Lou! I was like, why am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting one more player. Sorry, Neil. But yeah, will be a good time. That is this Friday. It's starting up again because the summer is over. So get you into autumn, which means we're back. And for the rest of this week, we'll be having regular streams. I will say, I believe the session 0 of my Pathfinder game is happening on this Wednesday. So our Wednesday streams will be still cut short a little bit. And going forward, stream schedules might get changed up a little bit. We shall see, though. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Have a fantastic evening, everyone who keep playing video games. Awesome, guys. All the best for Twitch. Enjoy yourselves, guys. Have a lovely time and a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you so much for watching and so much for listening. See you tomorrow. Good night. See ya!